Hey everyone! Well, as you can see, I'm kicking off my Christmas in July videos. I'm not going to be doing one of those every video, just be random sprinkles of Christmas in July. So as you can maybe see, these are napkins. I'm still messing around with the napkins. And I have 4 different versions. Well, I have tried 4 different ways. I'm hoping the last way is something that you'll be interested in. So the first one, I got a little overzealous, and when I laminated it and took off the white ply, I went ahead and sewed it in just like a book. And as you can see, these 4 pieces of aged tape, that's where my picture will go. And this is the slick side of the laminate, so you could pick this up and move it about. And if you mailed this to someone, they can take it out and hang it on the fridge, frame it, whatever they want. You know, a lot of times people print their Christmas Christmas photos on the postcard looking things, and it's very Christmas themed, which is great, but sometimes you don't want to keep that up all year. So this will take care of that. As I said, I put the white ply in the middle, sewed around it, sewed the white ply in, made a little pocket. I filled it with some tags. This would be for the photo. And then this would be for writing, because this is the inside of the napkin, which you can write on. And I just put a little tag here. This is kind of like a little, I don't know, folio booklet. You can write on these 2 pieces as well. Just put a few stickers down. And then I decided that's way too much. I don't need to do all that. And I did create my own envelope for this. Very shiny. And just a little tuck spot. So, I mean, you can make your own envelopes, you know, to send out, label them, whatever. So the second one, I decided not to put the white laminate in it, but I was going to use it. And I guess I hadn't figured out what I was doing yet, because this didn't really turn out like I wanted it to. I made a little pocket on this side. This side you can write on. You can write here. Put some stickers and a little tag there. My photo, I was thinking, would be put in the pocket versus, you know, taped down. The little stenciling there. And on the front, I made somewhat of a Christmas card. I just layered up some scrapbook pieces of paper and made it look more like a card. I like this version, and I would use this version with the exception that the pouches come in 3mm and 5mm. This is 3mm. And as you can see, it's very kind of flimsy. So, like, it's not going to stand up. Oh, yeah, sure. It's going to stand up now. But it wouldn't before. Okay, so it's just not as sturdy, I don't think, as most people probably would like. I like it because I think that it's different. And once they take your photo out, they may use this for something else, like to store receipts or who knows. So the next time I did it, this was a beautiful napkin, by the way. A lot of times napkins, you won't even have to put anything on the front. Like this one, it'll say Merry Christmas, and there's really no need for further embellishment. Although this saying that comes with challenges of its own, and I'll show you those. So I took some of the snowflakes that I had cut from a hot chocolate lid. This 25 is actually, I cut the numbers out, and this is the background of that. Splattered it with some paint, and this is the picture, which I loved because you can take it out, of course. The only problem with doing it this way, and then I turned the other side of the napkin over here where you could write on it, did a little stenciling. The only problem with this is, obviously, you can see my glue. On this, I used art glitter glue. On this side, I used glue stick because I wanted to see if maybe one of them would dry clear and wouldn't be an issue. and that wasn't the case on either side. So as you can see, there are just slits here that you can slide your photo into. So there's that one. Again, you have writing and where you can display your photo. Problem with this one was the glue. So on my fourth try, I loved this one. I used the 5mm. I put age tape to kind of show where the slits are. And I think that looks really cute. If you opened up your card and it looks kind of aged, and you can take this out. And then I did a little stenciling on this side. And as you can see, there are still a few spots, like here, here, where you can see the glue. Now this was Fabri-Tac. And I mean, like on this one, I was planning on putting a pocket down here with the end strip. I hadn't cut it yet, but I was going to put a pocket. So, I mean, there are ways to cover up where it seeps through. It's just, I would prefer knowing that it wasn't going to do that, but I don't know that I have a solution for that. This side, I used two-sided tape, and as you can see right here, you can see it. Of course, it's covered up by the picture, and this might be because when I was doing the X in the middle, I think I did it twice, got pretty heavy-handed, and it left that. But this one's a lot sturdier. It will stand up on its own. You know, if they wanted to set it on the counter or however. So I think this one turned out the best. If this is something you're interested in how to make, stick with me and we're going to make one out of this little fella. Cute, huh? But just up front, I wanted you to know I am having some technical difficulties trying to get that not to show. So this, all of your napkins always come, you know, folded pretty much the same, so that if you open them up, half of it shows both views, right? Okay, and cut down the middle. And this part really doesn't matter if it's even or not, because we have to straighten it up after we laminate it anyway. So then you have two pieces that look just like this. So when we fold our card up, we're going to have both sides. It's going to look really cute, just like that. So this is another one. If you had a die cut that said Merry Christmas or something, you might put that on there, but really it doesn't need anything. I just now noticed he has a little cardinal. How cute is that? All right, so let me show you how I put it. Not like you don't know how to laminate, but there was a few tricks that I learned with this, especially with the one that had wording on it. So because if I put this in here like I did the other ones that don't have really a pattern that needs to be, you know, like there's not a solid picture. Like on this one, it didn't matter. Something like this, it doesn't matter. You know, what I did on those was just when I put it in the pouch, I made sure that I came over as close to the edge and as close to the top as I could. And then this left space over here for the piece that I'm going to cut off, and I'll show you that. But on one that needs to be more centered, where your cover, you know, if it has words or a picture like this, I kind of just laid it on my laminate pouch, got it centered, and folded over the ends where I would know kind of where I needed to cut. Or, I mean, where I needed to cut one end so that it would slide up far enough to get this full picture. I hope that makes sense. So by folding it like that, I can see that I need to cut about right there to get the whole, to get enough of the napkin up in the laminate pouch that the front looks even with the back. So I push that in there as far as I can to the top, and then pull it down, making sure that all of my little wrinkles are out. And I've got a little wrinkle right there, so I'm going to fix that. Okay, that's better. And then I cut off the end before I laminate it because I want to use this piece as well. So just cut it right up next to the pouch. And then I put it on this open side, because I may use that as a side tuck or a pocket, something like that. So I try to make use of it as well. So I'm going to laminate this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I laminated it, and right before I put it in, I found the other little strip that I cut off the back side, so I just put both pieces in there. So now we're just going to trim this down. And then after you do your trimming, you can just tear them apart, like so. Now you could leave it together and just sew around it, and that would take care of all the not sticking and you know, your tape or your whatever you're using showing through. But I mean, then you can't write on this. Of course, you could glue a piece of cardstock to it and write on that like that. So that might be a better way to do it. Maybe I don't even need to use the white part. Actually, that's a lie. We do need it for the picture. So we're just going to fold this in half and use my bone folder. Make a really sharp edge. It'll lay better if you do. And you might see some edges that we need to trim up that don't fold exact, but that's okay. We can deal with that in a little bit. So if you don't use the other piece, I think it's still a little bit on the thin side. I really do. I think it needs that other piece. And like I said, you could sew it. I'm not going to. And then I'm just going to fold this one in half as well, because it should match the first one exactly as we cut them together. And after I crease it, I usually just cut right down the middle. Okay, so since we want to put the shiny side, and you wouldn't have to, you could just use the writing side, and after you glued your picture down or stuck your picture in, you could still write on this. You can put the tape on this napkin on the flat side and it will come back up. It won't rip your napkin or pull it up. So, I mean, that is an option to do it that way. But this is how I did it. And you would still want to do this step on the shiny side, regardless of which side you're going to put up here. So what I did was I took my picture and I just placed it down where I thought it looked most even. So then what I did was I took a ruler and an ink pen, and I took my ruler and just laid it over the corner of the photo, and then marked on each side, just marked a dot. Doesn't matter how big, because this will wipe right off. And I did that on each side. So you see all my dots. Then I just put my ruler back down, take my X-Acto knife, and cut from dot to dot. Not necessarily cutting the dot, just in between the dots. Now I just take a paper towel or a wipe, something, and your pen will come right off. And because we're on the slick part, it just wipes right off. So now, just to test my picture, make sure I cut them right. And so the good part about this is the size of your picture, you know, even if yours was a little bigger, a little smaller, you can adjust that at this point. So there's my photo. If you're not going to sew and you're just going to glue it down, however you're gluing it down, I like to leave my picture in there so that I'm sure not to put glue or whatever adhesive that you're using, to make sure I'm not going over those cuts. And since this double-sided tape seemed to work the best, I think I'll stick with that on this one. So I'm just going to go along the edges, a couple there. I think I'll do a light X in the middle. And then being careful on the side not to get the edge of your picture. You might have to run your tape off the side a little bit so that you don't get glue where your picture is. So I'm just going to butt that up right to the middle and press it down. We can always trim anywhere that I messed up. I like to put this piece down for writing purposes because I like how that feels, and it's fun to write on, and it's so easy to decorate. So also what I did, I took a couple pieces of this aged tape. I just kind of cut it in two. Doesn't have to match anything. Trying not to get it on my picture. And I lay it just on the outside of where we cut our slits. I did that for two reasons. I think it looks good. I think it gives it a good look. And I also think it helps to see where the cuts are when we get ready to put the picture back in if you're going to sew. Because, you know, with this being white, it's really kind of hard to see where you cut. And now you can even put a little bit of glue stick on the back of this. I didn't because it's kind of just like washi tape, really. And I like that all of the pieces are different sizes too. I think that gives a cool look. So that way I know where to put my picture back in when I'm ready, when I'm done sewing. Okay, so I'm going to take my picture out. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue stick on this side. I'm sorry, double-sided tape on this side, and do some sewing, and I will be right back. Okay, here it is. I love it. Love it. So what I did was I used white thread on the top of my sewing machine, and I put blue in the bobbin so that it would show up on both sides. Something I will tell you that I've also learned from this trial is the double-sided tape is definitely the way to go, because I don't see it anywhere on this. Just be light-handed with it. Also, you don't want to run it along the edges. I'm sure 95% of you already knew this, because your sewing machine is not going to like that double-sided tape. It will try to hang up on you. So on your picture area, I would just put glue as an X behind the picture. Don't worry about any of the edges. I mean, you could actually sew down the center or use a piece of washi tape to hide the seam if you didn't like that. But I think this turned out great. I love it. I think they're just different enough. I mean, if I got this, I would be like, that is the coolest Christmas card I've ever seen. And like I said, you can write on this side. I'll write something just to show you. And I've just used a cheap dollar store pen, and it works perfectly. Doesn't show through on the other side because this is a darker napkin. It's not smearing, so that's good. I was going to get a gel pen and see how that works. So hold on just a second. Let me grab one. Okay, this isn't probably the color I would use, but if you had like a silver or whatever color pen to write your message on the inside. It's not smearing. It looks great. It does show through a little bit on this side because of where the white is. So if you had a lighter napkin like these, you probably wouldn't want to do that. Matter of fact, let's write on one of these with just the normal gel pen and see. I know it will show through on the other side, but I'm just curious how much. And maybe if it shows through and you don't like it, yeah, see it does. You could just not write anything on this and tuck your tag in and, you know, put your little note in the pockets. I think that would be cool. But I think this was kind of a trial and error, mostly error video to show you. I think these are really cool. I think that if you try some and you probably saw a lot of things I did wrong and that, you know, hey, this would work. If we did it this way, it would work. I would love to know how you do it because I think these are really cool. I love using napkins. I hope that you will give this a try. I hope that you thought this was something neat and different and not just, wow, you really wasted a napkin there. Anyway, if you do try this and you find some things that work better, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.